Coming up on the February 9th edition of Carolina Week.
Not one runoff, but two. Candidates for student body president and senior class officers have begun another week of campaigning.
The party has begun and the countdown is on. Seniors have 100 days left as undergrads at Carolina.
It's the game, Carolina versus Duke. The good guys against the bad guys. The 15501 Battle of the Hatfields and the McCoys. And we'll have your preview.
Plus your Carolina Week 4-day forecast.
All that and more.
Carolina Week starts now.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Hello and welcome to the Wednesday edition of Carolina Week. I'm Joe Mott.
And I'm Lydia Garlikov. The votes are counted, but the election isn't over. Two SBP candidates have another week to duke it out. Reporter Courtney Robinson is in the studio with more. Courtney?
Thanks, Lydia. Following Tuesday night's general election, the number of candidates is down from 4 to 2, and those two are ready to go at it to see who will be the next SBP.
Siki Ballard with 27% of the votes, and Seth Dearman with 40%.
After a long campaign trail for student body president hopefuls, Tuesday night ended in celebration for Siki Ballard and Seth Dearman.
I felt absolutely great about the results last night.
Tremendous excitement. It was awesome last night.
Out of the more than 7,000 students who voted, Ballard received 27% and Dearman 40%. Both took Wednesday to regroup.
We're not requiring anything of our campaign. We're going to take a day break, even though it sounds like short. It really does mean a lot to our campaign.
Today we're taking the day off to let everybody rest and enjoy what happened yesterday and the hard work they've done, and then tomorrow we'll get refocused and be back at it till next Tuesday.
In the next coming days, the two will renew their push to win voters.
Expect a fight out of our campaign. You know we have an uphill battle, and we're going to fight as hard as we can to make it a comparable election, to make it a close one.
I think we've done a really good job of connecting with students and having a good time all the while, so we're going to keep doing exactly what we've been doing.
Vice Chairman of the Board of Elections, Jamie Poland, hopes the runoff will go as smoothly as the initial election.
Well, both candidates have a tough week ahead of them, trying to push their message as much as they can, make sure they get as many of the student body on their side as they can. And I think it will level out some, but it really depends on the effort that each puts in to really finalize their campaign.
So both candidates are ready for the push towards next Tuesday's runoff election.
Courtney, what was the Board of Elections' reaction to this year's race, and what are they expecting in the coming week?
Well, they said counting went like it goes every year. They have a computer-operated system, so things were made pretty simple for them. They were really surprised by the runoff election between the senior class groups, and also they were very amused by the 5 write-in votes for Pager from Napoleon Dynamite. They say that this coming week's runoff election should go smoothly. They don't expect any glitches, and they're hoping things go just like the initial election went.
And what about the two candidates who didn't make the runoff for student body president? Have they endorsed anyone?
Lydia, yes, they have. Leah Blackwell is endorsing Seth Dearman. She says her ideas are very similar to Seth's, and so she really hopes to see him in office. Now, Tom Jensen, on the other hand, decided not to endorse anyone. He wants his supporters to decide on their own who they should vote for. Lydia?
Courtney Robinson reporting in the studio. Thanks, Courtney.
With only 2 teams officially in the race for senior class president and vice president, we all thought we'd know by now which pair would lead the class of 2006. Well, we all thought wrong. 16 write-in votes meant neither team got a majority, and that means 7 more days of campaigning for Bobby, Jenny, Madison, and Whit. Madison, Perry, and Whit Walker shout for the Tar Heels and their campaigns on Wednesday. Bobby Wisnett and Jenny Pettigurt head to the B School to try to find potential voters, and another 7 days of campaigning begins. It was supposed to end the night before, as the crowd waited in anticipation in Carroll 111 for the results. Results that weren't what anyone suspected.
There's no majority, so we're going to have a runoff. The percentages were Madison, Perry, and Whit Walker with 915 votes, so that equals 0.495935. Bobby and Jenny got 914 votes with .495393.
After a night's rest, Perry was able to look back on his emotions.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything for the next 5 minutes. I was just sitting there with different emotions, like going through different facial expressions.
Wisnant said he thought his staffers were overconfident the first time around, but both pair are now looking ahead. Wisnant said he plans to apply what he's learned to the final week.
I hope that last night shows people what we actually need to do and that it's really not a game whatsoever.
It's a runoff, baby! And like that, the campaign is on again. They're holding up signs, signing up times to campaign, and doing anything they can to get the voters' attention. Both pairs said they have some surprises up their sleeves for the next week as the rising seniors try again to decide which two will best represent them. Justin Johnson will be the new Carolina Athletic Association president after receiving 72% of votes cast. Johnson's opponent, Hayes Holderness, got 25% of the vote. Johnson wants to reduce the number of tickets CAA officials get, so more will be available to the general student population. In other races, Mike Brady received 93% of the vote for the Graduate and Professional Student Federation president. Chastity Wilson garnered 96% of votes for president and the Residence Hall Association. Both Brady and Wilson ran unopposed for their positions. Voters reapproved funding for green energy resources on campus. 85% said yes to paying $4 per semester for that. Kumal Megurjironi is female co-president of the Campus Y, but we'll have to wait until next Tuesday to find out who her male counterpart will be. Mark Labs and Stephen Lassiter will face each other off in Tuesday's runoff election.
Spring semester is well underway, and chances are you've already bought your textbooks. A new study out of New Jersey confirms what many students have said for years. Books are just too expensive. Some textbooks put students back more than $100 a piece. Public Interest Research Group says the average student spends nearly $1,000 on books each year. The reason? Publishers release new editions with minor changes and jack up the price. These new editions also make it harder for students to sell back their old books. For those seeking federal aid for their textbooks or tuition, the state deadline for FAFSA applications is March 15th. That's earlier than the federal deadline. The organization's website is linked to ours, www.carolinaweek.org.
For many students, coming to college means dealing with new people, especially with roommates. Although roommate problems aren't typically an honor code violation, avenues do exist to settle disputes. The Dispute Settlement Center on Weaver Street in Carrboro offers mediation, facilitation, and conflict resolution. The center has offered alternative ways to settle conflicts for nearly 30 years. Youth Outreach Director Will Dudenhausen says the key to the center's work is bringing people together.
And we believe that collaboration is the underused method of dealing with conflict, and that's what our philosophy is, that we can help people collaborate instead of avoid the conflict or compete with other people.
The center also offers volunteer opportunities. If you're interested, visit our website, carolinaweek.org, for more information.
The number of people who use distance education programs across the country is on the rise. You can see evidence of this at UNC's Friday Center for Continuing Education. UNC offers certificates and degrees online in departments such as the School of Education, Nursing, and Public Health. Director of the program, Norm Lowenthal, says many students supplement their education with distance courses.
I think it's an important program and one that allows the university to extend its instructional function beyond its typical boundaries, that is, beyond the boundaries of the campus.
The self-paced curriculum offers more than 120 courses. The flexibility and time frame in which the courses can be completed is popular with non-traditional students and those working full-time. Students can enroll any time of the year, and many of the programs don't have strict attendance policies.
Senior marshals are in the pit every Wednesday for Hump Day, but this Hump Day was a little different. Seniors in the pit were celebrating 100 days until graduation. That event was on the calendar since early fall, and the senior marshals met often to plan festivities for the class of '05. Seniors kicked off the event playing on a huge inflatable slide, and others enjoyed cake and soft drinks. Members from the General Alumni Association offered students a GAA membership at half price. Outgoing senior class president Becca Frucht says the GAA members helped the class of '05 feel connected to one another.
They help us, senior class, throughout the year to create this feeling of class so that, seniors identify with the class of 2005, and when they become alumni, that's something that they'll, kind of like a badge of honor, they'll wear. So the 100-day celebration is part of that whole campaign.
The celebration went on for almost 4 hours Wednesday afternoon. Just imagine what the party will be like come May 15th.
Well, UNC employees come from around the world.
And some run into problems with language. Carolina students are coming together, helping campus employees get over the language barrier.
But wait.
I try as best I can to stop underage drinking, but I can't do it alone. We bring these kids in and all they get is a slap on the wrist and then they're at it again. We need help from everyone, including parents and judges. Otherwise, we're all part of the problem. And we become just another tool to help them drink.
Since 1975, the enforcement of minimum drinking age laws has saved over 17,000 lives. Say nothing, do nothing, stop nothing.
Can you afford to own a home in Orange County?
I'm a homeowner.
I am a homeowner.
I'm a homeowner. We own a home in Orange County, and so can you.
If you thought you couldn't afford to own a home in Orange County, now you can. Contact the Orange Community Housing and Land Trust for more information.
Students on campus are switching to the role of teachers to help members of the university community gain better English skills. Harrison Carter has that story.
With all the commotion of last-minute campaigning in the pit Monday afternoon, you probably didn't notice Pablo and Rolando.
A lemon is kind of fruit.
Is it a fruit or is it a vegetable?
No, it's vegetable.
Junior Pablo Durana began the Carolina Language Partnership in the fall of 2003. The program connects students with university employees across campus to get tutoring in English.
Well, we currently tutor roughly about 70 employees.
Durana has been meeting with Chase Dining Hall chef Rolando Gamez in the pit, weather permitting, since the program began, working hard on all Gamez's English skills.
Practice reading, writing, everything.
Volunteers work with employees one-on-one for about an hour twice a week. Durana says the comfort of personal attention speeds up learning.
Once they feel comfortable, then they're going to start practicing more and more, and it's really just practice that's going to get you to learn the language a lot faster.
There is a large number of native Spanish-speaking employees here at the University of North Carolina, and the Carolina Language Partnership not only helps them learn English, but makes connections between students and staff. Durana says tutors often find a new friend where other students might fail to look.
Having this one-on-one interaction, a lot of them have begun to establish great relationships.
The program is growing bigger here on campus, and so are Durana's ideas.
I don't see how it can't, be expanded to other campuses.
Here at Carolina, it's clear that Gamez is well on his way to learning a new language.
I like reading. Yeah, I practice a lot.
His hard work is certain to pay off. From Chapel Hill, I'm Harrison Carter, Carolina Week.
The Carolina Language Partnership is starting to do more than just tutor Spanish speakers. Teachers recently began working with new Farsi-speaking employees from Iran.
Super Bowl Sunday isn't just for watching football. Sunday evening, some UNC students gave back, like they do every week. About 10 UNC seniors dedicate their time to helping local Special Olympic athletes at the Hargraves Community Center. They coach and encourage special needs children from ages 4 to 20. Volunteers help athletes with games and drills and occasionally give a little pep talk. High fives were common and the smiles were just as big as the team wrapped up its practice. UNC senior marshal Janetta Krausen says the athletes aren't the only ones who get something out of the practice.
There's no recorded server hours and you get a reward. It's just, truly self-enrichment, So just feel good about yourself.
UNC's involvement is coordinated by the senior class marshals. It seems at least some of the kids think the program is a slam dunk.
President Bush has begun his push for his domestic agenda. The next stop for his Social Security reform tour is right here in the Triangle. In his first visit to the state since the election, Bush will hold a town hall meeting Thursday in Raleigh to discuss his plans for Social Security. But Social Security isn't all that's on the minds of North Carolinians. Bush's new budget includes a $1 billion cut to North Carolina's Medicaid program and almost $40 million in cuts to high school VOTEC programs. On the positive front, the budget includes $18 million for new schools at Fort Bragg and a 4.5% increase in public school programs for low-income and special education students.
The Department of Defense's creation of a new spy unit has many people asking questions. Supporters think espionage is needed to get a handle on terrorism, but some people think the Department of Defense shouldn't be in charge of espionage. Political science professor Mark Crescenzi is one of them.
I think the CIA has a longer history of doing the kind of strategic intelligence that we need, and the Defense Department has a better history of doing sort of tactical battleground intelligence. I'd like to see that division of labor maintained because that's what the two groups are good at.
Crescenzi thinks additional efforts to combat terrorism are a good thing, but he thinks that it's something that should be left up to the CIA.
Well, it's not quite as important as national security, but I think it's close.
Yes, but what would you do for tickets to a Duke-Carolina men's basketball game? Carolina Week reporter Dan Casuto says Duke students are willing to brave cold and rain for months to get a chance to watch the big game.
These are the Cameron Crazies. Brian Pearson wanted to join them so badly he ditched his dorm room for this tent. He's one of 1,000 diehard Duke fans who built tents so they could camp out for more than a month to get tickets to the big Duke-Carolina game. Every tent in Kayville has a number. Some have names too, and some even a few amenities. Tenters have folding chairs and hot pizza and laptops and, well, dirty clothes. And they cram 12 people into each one of these tents. But ask them their biggest complaint, and it's not the cramped quarters, it's the cold.
During the day, when you're just sitting around, your appendages kind of freeze up.
4 weeks in the cold and the rain and the mud, and there's plenty of that to go around.
Look at this, it's flooded all over the place. It's so horrible.
But don't try to leave. You'll lose your place in line if you're caught with an empty tent. And what about homework?
When you're out here trying to, do math or, science or whatever, it just makes it really tough because you're always, you're constantly thinking about keeping warm.
But for Brian, that's a small price to pay in the end. After all, he is a Cameron Crazy. In Durham, I'm Dan Casuto, Carolina Week.
Later in sports, Ann Sexton will try to determine which group of fans are most diehard, Duke or Carolina, like there's any contest.
We'll have to wait and see. Well, Rob Ellis joins us now for some weather.
It has been much balmier lately.
Well, we have seen some clouds that are starting to roll in, and the umbrellas have been coming out. I'll tell you whether things will keep cooling off in my 4-day forecast when Carolina Week returns.
Hey, I was checking you out, and I was thinking, how about you come out to my car and we can have a couple beers, fool around a little bit. You know, I could give you herpes.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great.
MADD. Face the brutal truth about underage drinking.
It's springtime in the forest of the black-tailed deer. The young male is feeling playful. It's time for tag. The female flicks her ears. Her way of saying, "Catch me if you can."
Hi, and welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm weathercaster Rob Ellis. Let's go ahead and take a look at our Carolina Week weather. Let's start with the headlines. Cooling off. We saw temperatures earlier this week that were almost record-setting warm temperatures. Had a high temperature of 74, I believe, earlier this week reported at the airport. So very, very warm, but we're going to see some cooling off. And with that cooling off, we're going to be seeing some clearing skies. So it is going to be back to normal for this February. We haven't seen much of that. We've kind of been off and on. Let's go ahead and take a look at the big picture, the satellite map, and see what's going on. Lots of cloudiness all throughout the southeast, including the Triangle area. And that's because there's a cold front that's extending all the way from Maine down through much of the east coast. And that is going to bring us some cool weather. And in fact, behind this, you can see some of these darker clouds. That is actually fog and low cloudiness associated with some of the cold temperatures behind this cold front. So let's look at the surface map, the road map, if you will, of what's going to be happening. Here's that cold front. Once we finally get rid of this cold front, it's going to push out, and when it does, this high pressure system is what's going to be bringing us some clearing later on in the weekend. In fact, up in the northern part of the country, they're seeing some snow right now, so that storm system that we're dealing with, they're dealing with up north as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 4-day forecast. Bring it right back to the Carolina Week 4-day forecast for this area. 49 degrees, so you can see that cold air is already in place by Friday, and clear skies throughout much of the weekend. Lows overnight, though, 26 for Friday, high temperature 51 on Saturday, low overnight 25. Sunday, much of the same, but there's your special heart day on Monday. What can you expect if you have those dinner plans, perhaps, or a nice romantic stroll in the park? Well, it will be cloudy, but kind of mild, so 52 degrees and overnight 34. So let's leave the triangle and go out east to the beach to actually see what's going on down there. Clear skies again. 55 for your high, low overnight 30, so just below freezing, but we do warm up a little bit on Sunday, 60 degrees. And if you're heading the other direction, you're leaving the beach and maybe going to the mountains, 48 degrees for Saturday. Those same clear skies, you can't get rid of them. Beautiful Carolina blue skies throughout much of the state. And if you're going to the mountains, maybe you're going to be taking in some skiing. We have your ski report for you. Appalachian Ski Mountain, all trails are reporting open, and look at that base of snow, 38 to almost 8 feet of snow. Sugar Mountain, much of the same, so great weekend to get some stuff in. A little chilly, but it's going to be nice.
Sounds like it's clearing up. As long as you don't have the rain coming, I'm going to be happy.
It's going to be beautiful.
All right, well, thank you, Rob.
And it seems like it's going to be a little cooler outside, but it sure should be hot in Durham this week.
Most definitely it's going to be hot. Cameron Indoor with the rivalry and all the Cameron Crazies packed in together. It's going to be, we'll see how the boys can handle it. Roy likes it hot, so
yes,
we'll see. So coming up on Carolina Week Sports, who has the most hardcore fans when it comes to ticket distribution? Tar Heel Nation or those devilish fans we told you about in Kayville? That's right. Rivalry Week is here. Don't even think about moving.
428 Essex, Polyp on the premises.
220, we're on it. Let's roll.
In there.
Yeah, we'll handle this, man.
What?
We're ready to be very civil about this.
You never know when a polyp is going to show up. Get the polyp early and stop colon cancer before it even starts. Just get a test from your doctor. Get the test, get the polyp,
Nice surgeon's touch.
get the cure.
Poor nutrition today will increase Sarah's chances of anemia, add to her healthcare costs, sick days, even stunt her ability to learn. And the thing is, Sarah's not even born yet. Get proper nutrition before it's too late. Call or visit WIC. WIC provides nutrition information, healthcare referrals, even food. Your child has you, and you have WIC.
Welcome back to Carolina Week Sports, where the countdown to the Carolina Duke Part 1 has already begun. I'm Ann Sexton. It's the matchup we've been waiting 4 long years for. Carolina versus Duke with something on the line, the top spot in the ACC. Wednesday night's matchup will be a game of the big threes. And not just the ones that both teams have the potential to hit from the outside, but the 3 superstars leading each team. Carolina's trio, led by forward Rashad McCants, will try and cool down J.J. Redick and company for the Devils. But head coach Roy Williams knows that is no easy task.
JJ's a matchup problem, Daniel's a matchup problem, but you know, Sheldon, I think the level that he's raised his play to has been really crucial, I think, to them.
Coach Williams would tell you synonyms for the word dedication include terms like loyalty, devotion, and faith. Nowhere does it mention sleeping bags, alarm clocks, extreme cold, and, well, Krispy Kreme donuts. But don't tell Duke and Carolina fans. That's how they show how much they care.
While the men's basketball players prove their enthusiasm for the Tobacco Road rivalry on the court, it's outside the famed Cameron Indoor Stadium in Dean Smith Center where the student fans show what they're willing to go through for a chance to witness the historic matchup. Since New Year's Eve, Duke students have been pitched in front of Cameron Indoor, where Outward Bound meets tailgating parties, the infamous Krzyzewskiville, just to get the best spots on the risers for Wednesday's Duke-Carolina game. UNC doesn't condone camping out for basketball tickets, but Carolina students still get their fair share of line checks,
$679 and $680.
sleepless nights, and refreshments. And according to senior Amika Best, the Saturday morning lottery distribution still shows how dedicated Tar Heel fans are.
Because we have the lottery and because we wake up extra early and some of us do not go to sleep, just like the Duke fans, to stand out here and get tickets. So I think we're just as dedicated, or if not more, than Duke.
But for some fans, dedication can be confused with desperation.
This guy ate something and then had to regurgitate it into the other guy's mouth. Actually, the guy had to receive the regurgitation for Duke tickets, and I thought that was pretty dang nasty.
Well, most Carolina fans aren't desperate enough to use digestive means of getting tickets and tend to stick to the more sanitary lottery system. Some Blue Devils who missed out on K-ville have been creative in other ways to guarantee a spot at the rivalry matchup.
There was a story of a kid who hid in the drop ceiling, like up in the drop ceiling of one of the bathrooms overnight. And then let himself down when it was time for the game.
While the tents of Krzyzewskiville serve as a constant reminder of the dedication of the Cameron Crazies, here in Chapel Hill, the anxious moments, hours in the rain, and early morning lineups don't go unnoticed.
You folks have no idea how important you are to us, to our team, and to me, and we appreciate it greatly. Thank you very much for that, too.
The men's team might be on everyone's mind, but the Lady Heels proved they can play ball too when they took on Virginia Monday night in Charlottesville. The Heels looked like they were asleep early in the first half, but then they turned up the D, pressuring the Cavs into 19 turnovers. Point guard Ivory Lotta commanded the offensive attack with 20 points. Then Camille Little hooked up Orlena Larkins here to orchestrate a late 16-0 run. The Heels cruised to an easy 75-56 win. Well, guys, we saw some pretty gross stuff that Duke and Carolina fans have done, but what would you guys do for some tickets?
Well, I know I want those tickets, but I don't think I could live outside for a month or do anything else that you talked about, but I'm sure glad that I already have my tickets for March.
It'd be difficult. When I was getting my tickets for March, I saw a student who had his bracelet, but something happened to it, it tore off, and they wouldn't allow him to get tickets. He was devastated. The cops had to come and haul him off. And so, I mean, people really want these tickets. This is a big event. So, well, thank you very much, Ann. Well, in preparation for the big game,
Carolina students are getting their game faces on, and Duke students sound worried.
Oh, I'm gonna fail the test. If I had a girlfriend, she'd kill me. We're gonna go try and play on my iPod while we wait in line for a game we're probably just gonna lose anyway.
I'm celebrating 32 years of recovery.
I'm celebrating 9 years of recovery.
Estoy celebrando 22 años de recuperación.
I'm celebrating 5 years of recovery.
For more information about National Recovery Month, contact the Alcoholic Drug Council of North Carolina at 1-800-688-4232.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.
intimidation plays a big role in sports.
After seeing some of Carolina's best game faces on campus Wednesday, I don't think Duke has a chance.
All right, yeah, hold on, this is game face. This is the game face right here.
Like scary?
You gotta be focused. You gotta be into what you're doing.
Raise the eyebrow I wish it looked more like Jackie Manuel because he's my hero.
If I were a Duke student,
right,
this would be my face.
Go back to Durham. This is my impression of Jackie Manuel beating Duke really badly.
Not the game face.
Well, I will sure have my game face on Wednesday night, and hopefully Carolina will do well.
Well, thank you. That does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful evening.